Have you ever noticed how some contracts only change a player's bank account, while others feel like they can completely change the direction of an entire franchise? That's exactly what happened with Zay Flowers. After signing a massive contract extension with the Ravens, he finally opened up about everything happening behind the scenes. But the biggest thing wasn't the money, it was his words. Flowers talked about the trust he has from the front office, explained why he never feared the pressure of playing in Baltimore, revealed his biggest goal moving forward, and sent a message that says a lot about where this team is heading. But there's one detail many people still aren't talking about. This contract could mean much more than simply keeping one of the best players on a roster in Baltimore. During his interview, Flowers opened up about Lamar Jackson, explained why he never considered putting pressure on the Ravens during negotiations, and revealed an important change that could make his game even more dangerous this season. Some of his comments surprised even people who follow this team closely. And after hearing everything he had to say, you'll understand why this could become one of the biggest moments for the future of the Ravens in recent years. For many years, Baltimore carried a reputation that was difficult to shake. Every time the Ravens selected a wide receiver in the draft, many people immediately questioned whether that player could actually become a star. The franchise found incredible talent at almost every other position, but wide receiver was always a different conversation. Some veteran receivers arrived in Baltimore, trying to extend their careers for another season or two, while young prospects struggled to reach the level everyone expected from them. It was a label the team carried for a long time, and changing that perception seemed almost impossible. But Zay Flowers believes that chapter is finally over. Right after signing his new contract extension, he made a statement that caught a lot of attention. Flowers said there was a feeling for years that wide receivers were not truly valued in Baltimore. Now, according to him, that has completely changed. And that statement carries a lot of weight, because it didn't come from someone watching from the outside. It came from the player who accomplished something no other Ravens wide receiver had been able to do before. The most impressive part is that this confidence didn't appear overnight. Flowers earned this recognition on the field. He posted back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, earned consecutive Pro Bowl selections, and continued improving since the moment he arrived in Baltimore. Eric DeCosta and the Ravens front office could have waited another year before offering him a new deal. Instead, they decided to act now because they see Flowers as one of the most important pieces of the franchise's future. That shows just how much belief exists on both sides. But there's another detail that makes this achievement even more impressive. While many people believe carrying the weight of changing Baltimore's receiver reputation would create huge pressure, Flowers revealed that he never allowed that pressure to get into his head. And the reason he gave helps explain how he reached this point without losing confidence for even a moment. One thing that really stood out from Zay Flowers' comments was hearing him say he never felt the pressure of being a first-round pick for the Ravens. For many people, that's hard to believe. After all, Baltimore had a reputation for struggling to develop elite wide receivers, and any player arriving with a mission of changing that perception would naturally face a lot of expectations. But Flowers explained that he had already dealt with much bigger challenges in life before the NFL ever came into the picture. Compared to everything he had overcome, the pressure of football never felt big enough to make him doubt himself. During the interview, Flowers talked about the journey that brought him to this moment. He remembered the challenges he faced with his family, the personal losses he experienced over the years, and everything he had to overcome before putting on a Ravens uniform. After that, he went to Boston College, a school that usually isn't known for producing superstar wide receivers, but he still managed to catch the attention of the entire NFL. Every obstacle along the way made him more confident instead of taking away his desire to succeed. Another special moment came right after the announcement of his new contract. Several former players and some of the NFL's biggest wide receivers made sure to congratulate him on social media. Among them were Chad Johnson and former Raven Steve Smith Sr., two players Flowers watched growing up and used as inspiration while developing parts of his own game. Flowers said receiving that kind of recognition meant everything to him because it came from people who truly understand what it takes to play the position and how difficult it is to reach that level. Maybe that's exactly why Flowers carries himself with so much confidence whenever he talks about his career. At no point does he sound like someone who is satisfied just because he received a massive contract. Instead, it feels like every challenge he faced created a mindset that doesn't change after a major achievement. And that's what he made clear while explaining what his biggest goal remains, even after securing his financial future. A lot of players spend years chasing a big contract, and after finally signing it, their urgency starts to fade. With Zay Flowers, the situation appears to be completely different. He admitted there is a huge sense of relief knowing the deal was completed before the start of the season. According to Flowers, it feels like a massive weight has been lifted off his shoulders. Now nobody will keep asking about negotiations, money, or a possible extension. His full attention can return to what matters most, playing football and helping the Ravens win. But the most interesting part came right after that. Flowers made it clear that the contract was never his main goal. In his mind, there's still a much bigger mission in Baltimore. The first thing he said when talking about the future was simple. The Ravens still need to win a Super Bowl. That shows how he views his contract. It is not the finish line. It is simply a reward for the work he has already put in. The real prize is still lifting the Lombardi Trophy. That mindset also shows up in the routine he built with Lamar Jackson. Throughout the offseason, the two spent a lot of time training together in South Florida, where they both live. Flowers explained that he was waking up at 5 a.m. almost every day to work with his quarterback. And the interesting part is that he made it clear this routine is not changing. Even after securing his new contract, he plans to keep putting in the same work during future off-seasons. That type of commitment helps explain why the Ravens had so much confidence in giving him this extension before the season even started. Flowers' talent was never questioned, but his discipline and desire to improve seemed to impress the organization just as much as his production on the field. And that constant search for improvement became even clearer through another important decision he made this offseason, this time involving his own body. Besides continuing to train at a high level, Zay Flowers decided to make another important change before the season begins. Last year, he played at around 178 pounds. During the offseason, he added roughly 8 pounds of muscle and is now closer to 186 pounds. To some people, that might seem like just a number, but in the NFL, that difference can completely change how a player handles contact and continues making plays after the catch. Flowers himself explained the reason behind this change. He joked that a lot of people complained because he spent too much time running sideways trying to avoid defenders. Now, with more strength, he wants to attack defenders more directly and break more tackles instead of relying only on his speed and quickness. It's an interesting adjustment because he isn't trying to completely change who he is as a player. He wants to keep the skills that made him special while adding another weapon to his game. This also addresses one of the criticisms some analysts still have about his size. There are still people who believe a true number one receiver needs to be a bigger, more physical player. Flowers doesn't seem concerned about that conversation at all. To him, the new contract shows exactly how the Ravens view his value. His teammates, coaches, and the front office see the work he puts in every day, and they believe he has earned the opportunity to be that top receiver for this team. That confidence from the organization appears to have made the connection between Flowers and the Ravens even stronger. Instead of creating tension during contract negotiations, the opposite happened. While many players choose to put pressure on their teams before signing a new deal, Flowers decided to take a completely different approach. And that decision reveals a lot about the trust he has built inside the franchise.
If you're enjoying this breakdown, smash that like button to help the purple flock grow.
Over the last few years, it has become common to see star players skip practices while waiting for a new contract. Some hold out completely. Others show up at the facility but avoid participating until they get the deal they want. Zay Flowers could have taken that same approach. After all, he had plenty of reasons to put pressure on the Ravens. But instead, he continued practicing throughout the entire negotiation process because he believed Baltimore would keep the promise they made from the beginning. According to Flowers, that trust has always been connected to one person, Eric DeCosta. The Ravens' general manager spoke with him personally before the contract was finalized and reassured him that he would take care of the situation. Flowers explained that he never doubted that promise because, from the moment he arrived in Baltimore, he felt that DeCosta believed in him. He even said the executive always greets him with a smile and that this relationship has remained the same throughout the years. During the interview, another important topic came up: the future of Lamar Jackson. Flowers avoided commenting on the quarterback's contract situation with the Ravens, making it clear that it wasn't his place to speak about it. But he did reveal a personal wish. He said he would love to play his entire career alongside Lamar, whether that means 12 years, 13 years, or however long it lasts. For Flowers, there is no doubt about who the best quarterback in the world is, and he hopes to keep catching passes from him for a long time. At the end of the interview, Flowers also took time to thank everyone who helped him reach this moment. He mentioned his family, his father, his 13 siblings, the Ravens organization, Steve Bisciotti, Eric DeCosta, his friends, and especially the Flock Nation, reminding fans that they stay behind him even during the toughest moments. But after hearing everything Flowers said, one thing becomes clear. This contract doesn't feel like the end of something. It feels like the beginning of the most important chapter of his career. After hearing everything Zay Flowers had to say, it's clear this contract represents much more than a reward for what he's already accomplished on the field. The Ravens are showing that they believe he is one of the most important pieces of this franchise, both right now and for the future. And based on Flowers' own words, that trust has only increased his motivation to keep improving and help Baltimore chase the one thing still missing: a Super Bowl championship. The most impressive part is that nothing about Flowers' mindset suggests he is becoming comfortable. If anything, it looks like the opposite. He is keeping the same work routine, adding more strength to his game, showing complete trust in the organization, and making it clear that he wants to share the field with Lamar Jackson for many years. If that level of commitment continues every Sunday, the Ravens could be entering a special era with one of the NFL's most dynamic receivers leading the way. Now I want to know your opinion. Do you believe Zay Flowers can have the best season of his career and help lead the Ravens to a Super Bowl this year? Leave your answer in the comments.
And if you're a true Ravens fan and love keeping up with everything happening around the team, don't leave this video without sharing it with a friend who's just as passionate. They're definitely going to enjoy this. See those videos on your screen right now? I picked the first one especially for you, and the other is recommended by YouTube. Go check them out, and I'll see you in the next video.